So second part is more interesting because it is the practical side of ethics. Practical side of ethics. So just before I forget, just now Dr. Philip had done a great job about motivating us to share the gospel. So I think all of us can play a part. We need not be all missionaries, depending on your calling. Yeah? But we can always pray, can't we? We can always pray. We can be informed. We can go into Joshua Project and some other website where they give you up-to-date account about where the needs are most critical, especially those unreached people groups. So when we get the information, we can pray more intelligently and on target. We don't just say, "Hey, God, please save this unreached people group." Where? In India or deep in the Sahara Desert somewhere. When we look at it, we can pray. We can pray. We can be fully informed and share the information among our cell groups so that more people can pray. Number three, we can also loosen our purse string. We can give. We can give. If we can't go, we can give. Sacrifice maybe your lunch money for 3 meals in a month. Take the money, give it to the missions of your church. Or if your church hasn't got a mission department, then give it to some mission organization. You can do that. Then, of course, you can be answering the call of God to go as a missionary, carrying the good news to the uttermost part of the world. So there are 4 ways we can always participate. So nobody has an excuse. An old invalid, old people who can't move, who are not mobile, they can always continue to pray at home. Yeah? Giving, I think all of us can spare some money by foregoing our spending on food or entertainment. We make a conscious effort to give. And then also to go, maybe locally. There are so many people from other countries who are here. When they are back home, they are called restricted countries. They are not able to be reached by the gospel because over there maybe the authorities ban the propagation of the gospel. But when they are here, they are free. You can visit them. They could be security guards in a shopping mall or working in a construction site. We can work with them, share the gospel. Mission is at your doorstep. So you don't have to go 10,000 miles away, learn a new language, live among them in a strange environment, undergo hardship to share the gospel. We can do it while they are here. In Malaysia, we have thousands of these people, and we have Nepalis, we have outreach programs for the Nepalis, for the Filipinos. We have quite a big group of Filipinos in Malaysia. So for the Nepalis, we have got outreach. We have regular services for them. And the wonderful news is that a lot of them have gone back after they served for 5 to 10 years in Malaysia. So they decide to go home because they've been away from home for too long. And some of them have been saved in Malaysia. You see, God is very great. He brings the people, get them saved, and then give them this great, deep desire to serve God when they go back. So a lot of them have become pastors. So in a way, we are helping to plant new churches indirectly through the Nepalis that got saved through our ministry to them here. So we can do the same. I think if you have not done it, please look out for opportunities to do that. It's not so difficult. We can look out, talk to the people, and then get them saved, disciple them, so that when they go home, they'll be able to do so as well. So that is what I want to add on to what Dr. Philip has just mentioned. Here, I'm going to wrap up on ethics. There's this famous saying, supposedly by St. Augustine. Augustine say, preach the gospel at all times, using words if necessary. Preach the gospel. That means he's saying you can preach the gospel by your lifestyle, by the way you treat people. Of course, easier to treat somebody with respect when he is your superior, especially when you're bosses. So you know how to pay the due respect, you have proper decorum, protocol, and you know how to conduct yourself with somebody who is your superior. But the real test is when they are below you in status. The road sweeper, the gardener, the delivery man. How do you treat them? Don't ever forget. They are reading the fifth gospel. And what is the fifth gospel? Is it the gospel according to Thomas, according to Mary or Peter, or so-called the non-canonical gospel? I'm not meaning that. I'm meaning the fifth gospel. We have gospel of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. 4 gospels in the Bible. But a lot of non-believers, they don't have the gospel. They don't have the Bible. Or even if they have it, they are not keen to read. But they are reading every day the fifth gospel. And what is that? The gospel is you, it's me, it's all of us. They are reading us. We are the fifth gospel to all these people. They are watching us. They are observing us. They are sizing us up. They want to see whether what you say, whether what you talk or preach are synonymous with your inner character. They can see the dichotomy. They are reading us as a book. So we need to be able to speak frankly, transparently, and not try to hide and appear to be better than what we actually are. We should be an open book at all times. Not only in church, when we are with church folks, it's easier to be nice, isn't it? When you are among good friends, good brothers and sisters, we are always at our best behavior. On Sunday, we come in our Sunday best as well. So we are always at our best on Sunday. But what happens when you leave the church on Sunday? Are you a different person? Are you Dr. Jekyll and Hyde? You remember that story? But one guy who's good, then the next moment he can be the total opposite. We are not to be that. We should be straight. So in the same way, let our fifth gospel go out with the right kind of story. The story is all about Jesus. We are his disciple, and we are his ambassadors, like Dr. Philip said. 2 Corinthians 5:21. We are his ambassadors. So we need to project the actual Jesus who is living in us. If you know Galatians 2:20, it says, I have been crucified with Christ. It's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. Amen. It's an exchange. But Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. So there's this transformation, the change. Jesus has put his life in us, his spirit in us. So we need to project Christ now. The life I now live, I no longer live. It's Christ who lives in me. So will we let the Christ in us shine forth? If we don't do that, then we are like lighting a lamp and then covering it with a black cloth. No light can come out. It is of no use. The world, the whole place will be still full of darkness. If we do that, we can show We put the light out, just like now we see so many bright lights. We, we can see clearly, yeah, visible. So in the same way, we are light. Let our light so shine before men. So ethics is all about being true to your new spiritual self. There must be integrity in your person, in what you say, in what you do, in what you think. If there's no integrity between all these elements, there's no coherence. You speak one language and then you behave another way. People will get stumbled. In fact, sometimes when I preach or share the gospel with some people, then they happen to know a mutual friend of mine who is a Christian. He say, you know that guy? I say, yes, he's a good friend of mine. He goes to church with me and all that. Ah, don't start with that guy. If that guy is a Christian, I'd rather go to hell. Because he say when he dies, he goes to heaven. I don't want to see his face. I'd rather go to hell. Are we in that category? Have we stumbled some pre-believers? If we have done, I think we have to ask God to forgive us. Yeah? Instead of bringing them close to God, we are chasing them away. And their eternal destiny is affected. So, ethics is all about how to live a life that is pleasing unto the Lord. Yeah? And it's all part of discipleship. Because discipleship is training you to be more and more like Christ. And then when you are a true disciple, you can then train other disciples and reproduce them after your own kind. But if you are not a disciple, how can you make disciples? You don't even know the basics of discipleship. So be very sure. If you have not learned about discipleship, please ask your pastor. Or pastor, you must start a discipleship class for your members. Train them. Because at the end, Jesus is not going to ask, which Baptist church or which Pentecostal church are you from? Oh, you're Baptist. Oh, you're here in this corner. Pentecostal there. Lutheran there. No such thing. God is going to ask, what have you done with what I have given you? He's not going to ask us what we have done with what He has not given to us. So each of us has got gifting. God has given us spiritual gift. He's given us natural, innate talents as well. Are we developing that? Are we using that to the full to bring people to Him? The Great Commission is about making disciples, not converts. It's so easy. You can go and share using the bridge illustration and then say a sinner's prayer. Congratulations, brother and sister, you're on the way to heaven. What rubbish, you know? It's not a magic prayer where you say that word and then you oblige God to save you. No, you must continue from there. You must believe in Jesus all the way. There's no saying one magic prayer and then you are saved forever. It's not like that. Huh? It doesn't work. Okay, let me continue with that. The Christian standard, there are some standards that we should aspire to. It cannot be just any standard, but it is standard that is in conformity with the Bible. Okay, and then we must abstain from all appearances of evil. So sometimes you say, can you drink? Are you supposed to drink? As a Christian, are you supposed to be able to drink or to smoke or to watch movies? I remember when I was with Pastor Stephen in India a few years before the COVID, and then we were also running a seminar, and then we were talking about drinking. Some of them say, no, you cannot even touch one drop. When we said that, Christians, are allowed to take a little bit as long as you don't get drunk. Oh, wow. And there was almost like a mini world war. They were so against. Even watching movies, I thought in India, Bollywood is so famous and most people will be watching Bollywood movies. But some of them are so hardcore. They say, no, it is out of the question. Christians are not supposed to watch movies even. So, based on that, how are we to decide which is allowed, which is permissible, which is not? So we use Christian principles to go about that. So there are many things. And then nowadays, abortion is big news. Yeah. So it happens among younger people, especially. They are not careful. We recently celebrated Father's Day, and there was a nice quotation. He say, "It is easy to be a father, but it takes a special person to be a dad." Yeah, it is easy to be a father, but it takes a special person to be a dad. So very easy, isn't it? Young people, 15, 16, they just go around mixing around, and before you know it, one of the girls get pregnant, and they want to look for somebody to do abortion. It's easy to be a father, but daddy to be a dad is a full-time job, 24/7, right? For all until the person is old. Yeah, you still see your children as still children. So abortion, under what circumstances? Some people say can, as long as within the first trimester, or some even say in the second trimester, you still be able to abort. It is not a problem. And how about if there's some problem with the baby, if we allow the pregnancy to continue and it affects the health of the mother, is it then okay to abort the baby? The question is, what about if the girl is a victim of rape or incest? Incest will be sexual relations between close family members. So it is a big shame to the family. So is it okay to then get rid of the baby? What if the child, nowadays very, very advanced. Before the child is born, way before they can go for scanning, they can detect, oh, this one is having some problem. If you let it go to full term, it may turn out he's totally mentally, handicapped. So better to abort the child. So under such circumstances, how do we decide? Then we need to go into the Bible to find out whether abortion is okay or not in the eyes of God. So let me give you a quiz. Yeah. How would you advise this mother who was pregnant with her fifth child, number 5? And based on these following facts. First, the husband has got venereal diseases, the disease, syphilis. The mother has got TB, tuberculosis. Their first child was born blind. The second one died. The third one was born deaf. Fourth one was born with tuberculosis. So this is the fifth one. So she is so worried because everything turned out so bad. So she has come to you as a pastor or a church leader and say, can you advise me about aborting this child? What would your advice be to her? Anybody want to say? Any? You say yes? How many say yes? Abort. How many? How many will say no? How many no? The rest say yes, maybe, right? Because you didn't put up your hands. Yeah. Yeah, which is it? Yes or no? No. Why? Why no? Huh? Where? Yeah, is no. Because you shouldn't do it, but what is the reasoning? The reasoning is abortion is taking of life, isn't it? Thou shalt not kill is one of the 10 commandments. So if you had told the mother to abort, then you would miss all the good music by Beethoven. Uh, So things may look so dismal, may look so miserable, may look so negative. But can you not trust the Lord? You have to trust Him. Yeah? Allow Him. Even the child of a rapist, why do you have to kill the child? He is the innocent party. He never asked to be born. But how can you do two wrongs to correct and something and make something right? Two wrong don't make one right. So the child should not be aborted because it is life. It's a form of life, and life is all given by God. Now, what do you do when you are faced with difficult ethical issues? So these are some of the tips that I can give you on how you can tackle them. Ask the following questions, and what would Jesus do? Remember, I think in the 70s, there was this movement going around in the US and it caught on in the other parts of the world. It's called WWJD. What would Jesus do? So they make armbands, caps, they have the WWJD t-shirt. Everywhere they go, they have that. The very idea about that is, you say, before you do anything, take a step back and ask yourself, what would Jesus do if he's confronted with this same situation that I am facing? So they felt that if we take a breather and ask, what would Jesus do? We will get a better perspective on that issue and we will make a better decision. Of course, you have to call on God to reveal to you what you should do. Second question will it glorify God? Will it glorify God? Will it edify me? Will it make me stronger? Make me, more resilient in the future? Does it cause me to take on the appearance of evil? Like I said just now, we should not take on anything that can reflect badly on Jesus. Even though we may not consider that as sin, but to somebody else, they see it as sinful and they get stumbled. So we don't take on any appearance of evil. And is it doing a positive seeking after God's righteousness? So are we one step further in our journey with Christ by doing it? Or are we slipping backwards? We ask that question. And then, are we absolutely loyal, faithful, and obedient to the word and will of God? So if we can answer all these in a positive light, then when you make a decision through much prayer and also reflection, you'll be able to come to a very righteous answer that God can show you. Because God says, if you lack wisdom, you can ask, and He will give it to you liberally, without scolding you, without reprimanding you for asking for more wisdom. Okay. So now, since we are among people who are pastors and some are church leaders, so we want to talk about church leaders and ethics. So pastors have their own responsibilities. That's why just now we were dwelling at length about the role of a pastor. The office of a pastor is a very important and heavy responsibility. So we need to know exactly how the pastors should have their right ministry ethics. Now we have ministry ethics for the pastor. To whom are they accountable? To whom are they accountable? They are fully accountable to, first of all, to God, because God is the one who called them. So they need to answer to God. Finally, their boss is God, not the congregation. Yeah? Congregation will make a lot of noise, and difficult congregation may tear you into 10 pieces, different, different viewpoint. So how do you tackle it? So we need to be to answer to God. So 2 Timothy 2:15 means you must train yourself. Pastor Stephen was saying, whether it's a man or a woman pastor, they need to be well trained in order to preach. Yeah. So like I say, the name could be a pastor, you can call him a teacher, or whatever, or gospel enabler, we can call it different things. And then they are accountable to themselves as well. They need to take care of, make sure they teach right doctrine. 1 Timothy 4:16. They have to take care of their doctrine because they are teaching their members doctrine that will affect their eternal destiny. So they must always preach sound doctrine. They are also accountable to their families. There are many pastors who serve very well, excellently, serving the church, giving 24 hours to the church every day, but they neglect their family. And when they grow old, their children seem not to want to have anything to do with Christianity anymore. Is a survey I read some time ago, done in US. Say around 80% of the pastors' kids, once they attend college, they just don't want to be in church anymore. 80%. And that's because they are very resentful of the fact that their parents gave their all to members of the church and never had enough time for them after they come back from church. They are already so tired and their tempers are short. And then they also now know why the father keeps kicking the dog. Because they are so frustrated out there. When they come back, they need to let go. So when the child comes back and has got a bad report card, he will fly off the handle. And when the family dog is near, he will just give it another kick. Now you know why the dog gets a kick. So people must take care, especially pastors. It's bad. It's easy. It's not easy to unwind the clock. Not easy. Just like a tree. Now I'm quite a gardener. I got a little plot of land by my house. So I grow banana trees, papaya trees. And then some of them, somehow, I don't know whether the soil is not good or what. The, the young plant seems to be always leaning to one side. So how to correct it? I'll put a strong stick down vertically, tie the seedling next to the stick to make it grow straight up. So children need to be nurtured when they are young, not when they are 15 or 18 years old when they are about to leave the home. They need constant care. So pastors must take care of the family. They must also take care of the churches, of course, because they are the shepherd, under shepherd of Jesus. They must take care, they must protect their flock from false teachers, from ravenous wolves, check their doctrine so that that the people will be well taught and well equipped. And then also pastors are supposed to be also faithful and loyal to their denomination. So if you are, say, belonging to denomination A, and they have certain guidelines and also doctrinal beliefs, if you find that you cannot agree wholeheartedly with any of those major issues. It's better for you to live quietly for the sake of peace, for the whole denomination, and for yourself to live in peace. If you can't obey or follow any of those, then don't ever join. And then go in there and create trouble. They can live without you. And then, fellow pastors, also you need to look out for one another. If you know something is happening or something is brewing, something bad is brewing in his life, go alongside him and say, Pastor, can we have a cup of Starbucks? Huh? Dr. Philip's favorite drink. Then sit down and talk. I've heard something like this. Is it true? What have you to say? Is there anything I can do to help? Offer to help. Fellow pastors as well. We are our brother's keepers. In postmodern world, everything seems to be whatever I think is right is right. So now with all this queer, transy, I don't know, trans and queer and all that. This is very confusing. One day, if I feel like I want to go in use the ladies' toilet, there are 2 toilets. Can I just walk in there now? Maybe I should test later on. But in the US, it's so common now. They just walk in. They say, I feel like a woman, even though I have a big beard, and I can walk in there. And I can participate in a women's competition because I feel that I am a woman, so I am qualified. So this is sowing confusion. Number 2, gay sex marriages. Come on. In the West now, children, I pity them. They are totally confused. They see 2 big, pot-bellied men with beard, and then one calls himself the father. Yeah, no problem. The other one say, I'm the mother. Wow. I don't know. 10 years ago, I would have laughed at the suggestion that this would happen, but now it's rampant. Even pastors among them are gays. They want to start a church for the gays. So many things are happening. So we were very difficult. Postmodern world, it is so confusing. So we need standards that don't change according to the whims and fancies of people. So Jesus, God has given guidelines for us. So those are our standards. Those are the ethics we should follow. Now, there's another thing called situational ethics. Yeah? Okay, I got it. What is this then? The situational ethics. Okay. So this was proposed by one of the clergymen in Presbyterian denomination, Fletcher. Joseph Fletcher is his name. So he said, don't worry about whether it's right or wrong. Just use love as a guideline. If it's done in the name of love, everything is okay. Even though he's killing a baby, as long as it's for a good cause, it is okay. Love is supreme. It depends on the situation. No problem. That's why it's called situational ethics. So don't worry about what the Bible says so much as long as you love, because Jesus asks us to love. So when we have love, we do it in the name of love, we never go wrong. But I want to tell you, this is very rampant now, even among Christian circles. We shouldn't allow that. We should look at every situation differently. You cannot just paint it over with a broad paintbrush and say, oh, is there love behind it? Yes, okay. To him, suicide is not a problem as long as he's doing it in the cause of love. Because the guy suffering pain. The people are now, finding it hard to buy the medicine, expensive medicine for that patient. So, and then the patient say, no, I don't want to live. Then he say, okay, let him die. It's okay. Euthanasia. That's part of it. Suicide, euthanasia, marriage, divorce, and remarriage. Now it is the talk among Christian circle. Lots of pastors are married twice, 3 times. And where is the qualification of an elder should be the wife of how many husbands? Wife of how many husbands? Is a husband of one wife, not a wife of many husbands. Yeah. Yeah. So what does it mean? Wife of or the husband of one wife? Does it mean that he cannot marry again after his first wife passes away? Doesn't mean that, huh? Yeah. Ah. Oh, mistresses, that one clearly is not on. That one is adultery. So he has disqualified himself. Disqualified. He cannot be pastor. He cannot be ah, yeah. Yeah. That one disqualified already. Cannot be pastor. Yeah. One wife means a one woman man. So at any one point in time, one wife only. Yeah. As long as the original wife is alive, no other woman. Yeah. But once she's dead, you can remarry. There's not a problem. Huh? Or if you don't nowadays some people prefer not to divorce the wife. They rather kill the wife and then remarry. Finish the story. Yeah. So I pray for mercy for those who have that who is harboring that problem. Huh? Yeah. Let's not do that. Yeah. So I want to now almost finish. I don't want to say too much because time is running on. Yeah. So any questions on what I've covered so far, or even in the morning session? Is there anything unclear or something you want to refute? Feel free. Legal, le- legalism. Oh, legalism means you see there are two opposites. One is antinomianism, means no law, anything goes, freestyle, no nothing at all. You just go, no law. The other one is legalistic, like being a modern day Pharisee, very legalistic. Everything you must do this, must do that, must not do this. A lot of laws and rules. So they believe that if you follow the rule, you'll be okay. Yeah? So following the rules for rules' sake, following the law for the law's sake. So the Pharisees did the same thing, and they invited the harshest criticism from Jesus, because Jesus said, "These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far away from me." So they know everything about the law. They know how to fulfill the law, and they are very particular about the law. And the Pharisees, sometimes in our mind, we think they are bad people, but they are not really bad. It's just that they want to honor God by not breaking any of the commandments. So they study all aspects of it, and they put fences around so that they don't go too near to the law to avoid the risk of offending God by breaking the law. So they were there, they were particular, they were very, very strict in wanting to stay far away from breaking the law. And they had oral traditions added onto it. They interpreted the law, they saw it from different angles, and that's how they wanted to live their life. But they have degenerated to the extent that their oral traditions were put on equal ranking with the Mosaic law. Yeah, and they were doing it mechanically, legalistically. Yeah, legalism. Not because they love God, but they want to stay on the right side of the law, and they do it but the heart was cold. Yeah. Is it okay, Pastor? Yeah. Legalism. So there are some Christians who are also like this. Rule, rule, rule. You must observe this, you must do that, you must not do this and that. Any other question? No? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. You come up. No, no more. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all. Bye.
I think I need a little bit more clarification on the question. The first one is lording over God